Welcome to this new intro made by wonderful Alan Underwood. I mean, honestly, when he first sent that to us, I had a bit of the stank face going. It was good stuff. So the creator of the new intro and the outro, stick around and see the outro of the USL show. Alan, how are you doing?
Doing great. Good. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing really, really well. A lot better hearing some funky music to start at 8:02. We're getting more consistent.
Yeah, that tune's actually like the previous iteration of the USL show. I think Phil wrote that one, and so I was like, I wanted to keep like a flavor of the previous show and kind of tie it to this show. So it's like the chords and the melody is kind of the same, but so I wanted to keep it similar but refresh it, kind of like what we did with, keeping people to continue on but have some new faces. And I know that Phil Grooms is looking forward to when we can figure out a time to do like a retrospective on some of the past of the show at some point and bring some of these guys on, even going back to the original USL show, the OG in I think 2016. So yeah, feeling great.
Good to hear. And one of the people that got to hear that very, very many times was Sir Ryan. Ryan, how you doing, buddy?
Doing well tonight. How are you today, Kaylor?
Doing well. It's a great day to be alive. I get to be with you guys again. This is the best part of the week. It's great. Let's see. To my straight below, to the kind of bottom left of Ryan, is Phil, who is back from the dead once again. Phil, how you doing, buddy?
Yeah, good. You guys can't keep me away for that long. And I don't know about anyone else, but I was slapping the bass like backstage when that intro kicked in. So yeah, we're grooving tonight. Looking forward to a good show.
And to his right is another man who is back from the dead. Gio, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good, guys. I've missed all of you. I've been gone a few weeks with some FIFA games, and I unfortunately lost in the semifinal, but happy to be back with you guys and talk about some USL and some preseason games I want to forget.
Well, let's get our mind off FIFA and let's get our mind to some FIFA or to some friendlies that we want to forget. Gio, you got to be a witness of an interesting friendly. I mean, there's been a lot of friendlies. I mean, Trialist has been tearing it up out there. An absolute freak from League 2 all the way to the MLS. Trialist has just been on running rampant. We saw that with the switchbacks and Hellstorm. But Gio, you got to probably see a Trialist or two going with Greenville against Clemson. A little in-state championship or championship champions. A little rivalry match. What was that? How was that?
Well, I was impressed by the atmosphere at Clemson. I know they won the national championship, and I watched a couple of their games on their run to win that, and I was surprised by their quality. They have some really good players on that team, players that hopefully we'll see USL, MLS someday. It was actually a pretty chippy game for being a friendly. I think Clemson had a point to prove playing against a local side that where some of their players I know have been trialists before and didn't make it. So, they had a point to prove against a professional, some players that are older than them. So it got really chippy, a couple yellows in there. There's some trialists, not the trialists, but there were a few trialists that I saw. I was able to figure out who a few were, and I won't spoil for the sake of Doug today.
Today.
I figured it out. I got to go with Brandon Mays, USL League One review. So I got to be with his family, and we got to enjoy the game all together. So we had a great time. As far as the game went, uh, they I hate to blame the refs on some of this, but Clemson had two PKs just given to them. They converted one, they missed another. We had a save. And their second goal at the end was killed us off. We had to play a three at the back formation because we had our right back Noah Frankie broke his one of something in his elbow, I believe, early in the first half. So we're already having injuries. He's possibly out for 6 weeks. We didn't have anybody to cover for him, so we had to just have some players just switch out to be that third person in the back line. So it was interesting to see how we played with that formation because we've never seen it before. And it became very attacking, but we couldn't finish our chances. But it was fun. I saw a lot of positives, even though it was a 2-0 loss. We saw a lot of positives from our team and how we played. I got to watch Lucas Coutinho for the first time since he was with Tormenta. And I was excited to see him. He has a vision. He's still obviously in preseason form. But I liked what I saw. We played well on the wings. Alan Gavilanes and Jesus Ibarra are coming back this season, and they were looking fresh. Jake Keegan looked great out there. He looked sharp. So I'm excited. I know we play Atlanta United 2 this weekend, and Tormenta beat them the other day. So that might be a little bit of a better, eye test to see how we do compared to Tormenta did.
Once again, trial is running rampant against Atlanta United too. What else can you expect from world-class talent like that? But, you kind of mentioned, a little bit of chippiness. That was kind of the name of the game this last week. We had quite a few little brawls that popped up along the way. This one came across the big one, I guess, that a lot of people saw came across to my timeline thanks to Phil. Phil, do you mind laying out what happened in this Western Conference friendly brawl thing?
Yeah. So New Mexico United paid a visit to the West Side Soccer Complex in El Paso and Locomotive's training pitch. Always a little bit strange when those two teams play in a friendly, because let's be real, like there hasn't been a friendly match played between them, and they've played each other a lot. Despite, a decent amount of roster turnover in New Mexico, they've played each other a lot the last few years with the regional breakdown of, the divisions. And so a lot of animosity has been built up. I think one of the moments of last season for Locomotive fans was, obviously you want to beat New Mexico United, but at New Mexico United last year, it was 1-0 New Mexico in the 96th minute, in the last minute of stoppage time. Locomotive had a player sent off, and Matt Boehner, of all people, like a utility defender who was in the game, scored a last minute goal and shirt off, ran to home plate at Albuquerque and swung for the fences and looked into the crowd, and they held up his jersey. The crowd got shushed by the Locomotive players. It was a pretty intense moment for everyone. And I think these last few years have really built that rivalry into something real, not just something that exists because they're, regional rivals. It's something where that actual animosity is kind of built amongst the players, and they're competitors at the end of the day. And I think any player would say, friendly is a name. It's a name for an exhibition game or a preseason game. It's not because they go out there and don't compete. They're gonna compete just as they would in the games. The thing that set this off in El Paso, though, and the thing that I think where most players try to draw the line in preseason is Yuma for El Paso flew into a challenge pretty recklessly in the center of the park against United in the second half of their friendly, and it was a bad tackle, straight up. And it would have been bad, in the middle of the USL season, and it was definitely bad in preseason. And Yuma already has a little bit of a reputation, I would say, especially amongst New Mexico United supporters. I'm sure anyone out there listening, and I know we have San Antonio fans in the chat who definitely hate Yuma as well, Harry chief amongst them. He's earned that reputation over the last couple of years with El Paso. And I think at the end of the day, my co-host on Seriously Loco, Mika, mentioned Yuma's, he's, I think, 37 this year. He's lost a step probably over the last few years. And when you lose that step, like the way that you try to make up for it is you're going to fly into a tackle like that because maybe you're not as close to a 50-50 ball that you would have been maybe a year or two before, because that little bit of acceleration pace. And so he got caught a little flat footed. He flew into a tackle and he touched it off. And I mean, at the end of the day, the New Mexico United players are protecting their teammate. The Locomotive players are going to stand up for their teammate as well. Although in this case, even as a Locomotive fan, I don't really condone, that sort of intensity in a preseason match that could potentially hurt someone. But at the end of the day, both teams kind of stood up for their players. But in this case, it won't be common for me to take United side over Locomotive, but in this case, I don't think Yuma has much of a case for himself, because tackle had no place in any game, let alone a preseason friendly, unfortunately.
We see it a bunch across U.S. soccer, just granted based off of how spread out some teams are and the fact in preseason they want to minimize travel and just try and keep everything close to camp as possible. Although not always the case. We've had teams play pretty spread out friendlies, such as the Oakland Brutes playing Tucson earlier this week, as well as Phoenix Rising playing Detroit City as well. Well, do you think it's helps a team going into the season to play a close geographic rival, such as what New Mexico and El Paso did, or would you prefer not to see your rivals until you get into the season?
So for me, Legion's first friendly of the year came against 901, and the Legion ended up losing the friendly, according to reports. But that said, if it wasn't a friendly, 901 would have had a player sent off in the 30th minute. So who knows what would have happened, so on and so forth, But it's one of those things of, in a way, no, because it begins this early thing of we lost to the rival, but then the rival has this one up of we beat you. But it's like, well, our players weren't even playing. One of our players just got off the plane yesterday. It's weird. But I think there's something to be said about natural intensity. And this kind of goes back to Yuma. This is my personal opinion, and I kind of got flamed for it on Twitter, and fair, totally fair. But I don't want to see a player get hurt. Don't get me wrong. That's the last thing I want to see. It makes me sick seeing a guy get hurt. I love seeing how intense that made the preseason friendly. Afterwards, people getting in each other's faces, people, shoving, actually throwing shoves and like trying to throw some hands into some faces, and not like a normal baseball brawl where they just look at each other aggressively. Because the moment that match comes around the regular season, there's a little bit of extra animosity. For the guys who were not on the team last year, they already get it. There is no warming into the new rivalry. They get it. They feel the rivalry just as much as the players. And like I said, I don't want to see anybody get hurt. But as a person who is a neutral who does not have to have my shins kicked in by spikes, I'm kind of here for it.
Skip, I don't want to see a player hurt. But no, I apparently spoke something into existence because or maybe Locomotive's admin is listening to the show, because they just tweeted out the video of Matt Boehner scoring the goal in New Mexico. So if you guys want to check that out, you can hit El Paso Locomotive's Twitter feed, and you can see the field level view, which is next level. I'm fairly certain our videographer got promoted to MLS like as a result of this video. So
I mean, another brawl, and this one came from the Cali part, Cali image. This surprised me a little bit, and maybe Alan, you might be able to shed some light because you guys played Sacramento a lot. But apparently this weekend there was also a little benches clearing brawl with people getting each other's faces and some shoving happening against Fuego, which that's League One versus Championship. So there is literally no connection between these guys, maybe a few players here and there. But now, granted, I haven't, when I found out about this, the person who informed me of said brawl, they didn't know what started it. But I've always felt like Sacramento was a pretty laid back group, and I didn't see that. I'm totally wrong here. I just saw the cute cuddly bear, and I assumed that they were great.
Yeah, just go back and watch any Sacramento versus Orange County match over the past several seasons, and you will see some pretty physical play. You'll see some pretty questionable calls that could be red cards that aren't. Those are really heated, really heated matches between Sacramento and Orange County. I think San Diego was on that train as well. As far as Sacramento, I think comes off as some kind of unassuming team. I know they didn't have a great season last year, but that team plays with an edge that is like sometimes borderline like we're almost trying to hurt some people here. And I think it boils down to, like, for me, preseason doesn't really tell me anything. It's like we're getting fitness, we're trying some things out. You'll see some Andy with his red card. Seems like they get a red card every match. There was some there's some ugliness. Sacramento beating Orange County down a man last year. Sacramento can get ugly, which is, I mean, you would think West Coast teams tend to play a little bit like more like slick football. They're not going to play the East Coast hard nosed, but I think Sacramento does get a little bit like that. I think preseason to me doesn't really rile me up at all because it's like at the end it doesn't matter. Nothing in preseason really matters to me as a fan. Like as far as like, oh, my team's going to be good or my team's going to be bad. They're trying some stuff out. They're trying some combinations. Guys aren't quite fit yet. They're trying some guys who probably won't actually play together, but they're seeing how they work just in case. It's a little bit of whose line is it anyway, especially toward the last half of games where you're putting in 14 trialists and 32 kids. You know, it's like, all right, you won 7-2. Cool. All right. No one's going to remember. It doesn't matter. Those goals don't count. But I can understand why, from a player perspective, especially guys who are on the bubble, you know, they're the 19th, 20th guy. They are a trialist. They're a guy. I can understand why they play with an edge because this is their career. Like, this matters to them. Like, my team can lose 8-2 in a preseason game. And I'm walking away going, all right, that was a game. Cool. Hope it doesn't happen regular season. But I think for the players on the pitch, I think it does matter. And I think that's where you start to see some of that frustration is guys trying to jumpstart their career, actually start their career, or continue their career. And it means a whole lot to them. And so hard tackles, yeah. Playing, pushing, shoving, yeah, because you want to show the coach and the players, like, you put me on the pitch, I'm going to stand up for my guys. And you like to see that. Yes, it's a friendly. Yeah, you don't want to see guys get hurt. That's not the point. But, you know, these guys have been living together for a month and a half already, some of them. So it's like there's that connection there. And some of the guys have been playing together for years. So I do like to see the edge a little bit. But at the end of the day, like, if you're going to go hard into a tackle, like, maybe pull out of it a little bit. Like, go hard, but, like, everyone wants to start the season healthy. Like, we're going to have plenty of injuries and plenty of opportunities to go studs up into a shin at some point this year. So take it easy. And then with San Diego, like, we get teams coming down here to train. So there's not really a rivalry yet either with any teams. Like, I wouldn't say Orange County is necessarily a rival, or Phoenix or LA or any of the teams. So it's just like, I don't feel that same animosity toward any team right now.
So, Ryan, we're talking about guys who are starting or even possibly saving some careers, you know. And as it turns out, I have been informed recently that trialist is just a name given to these players, that his name is not actually trialist and he's not winning the Ballon d'Or, you know, the Balloon d'Or, whatever it is. So that's a little embarrassing. But there have been lots of signings today. There were a weird amount of signings today. Were there any that kind of caught your eye in particular?
Though it wasn't today, but I think it's one that bears mentioning that we have to talk to in League One was the signing of former Tottenham striker Sterling. He actually had played official Spurs minutes in the Champions League, and it's a wild signing to see come into South Georgia Tormenta for the season. And he had also had futures with Sunderland, Doncaster Rovers, and even Greenock Morton up in Scotland, another club that I'm familiar with. But I just think this is a really impressive signing to have someone who's had that experience come and make the trek over to the United States. And it's a real statement of intent for South Georgia, especially after losing Marco Micheletto to the Columbus Crew for this season. And Sterling actually is the second player across USL to have played official minutes for Tottenham and play within USL. That's a trivia question for who else can name the other one.
For Tottenham?
He played one official game for Tottenham, and he's now still playing in USL.
Is it Lancaster?
Yep. He played one game with Tottenham. He subbed on January 31st, 2012 in a 3-1 win over Wigan with Gareth Bale and Luka Modric as his teammates. And in a less fun fact for me, if Sterling wins USL League One, he'll become the 28th player, I believe, to depart from Tottenham and then proceed to win a trophy.
Oh man.
And Emmanuel Sanupe also joining Locomotive from former Tottenham Academy player. Never played official minutes though for the first team. He played with their PL2 team a bunch, but yeah, so Spurs players making their way to USL now.
That's hysterical. 28. That's kind of funny.
I believe so. I don't like keeping track of that.
It might be 30.
That was my favorite. That was one of my favorite comments from this past weekend with the EFL Cup. Was that Luis Diaz has been with Liverpool for I think like 27 days and already has more trophies than Tottenham. I enjoyed that little bit of.
I didn't realize Diaz has won over 26 trophies in his career already.
Yeah,
that's how many Spurs have in our trophy cabinet.
Gio, while we're still talking about some signings, y'all's W team just made a couple signings today, including one girl I think is getting some caps with the U23 women's national team.
She did. I saw she got called up today. I saw that, and that's impressive to see that we got a girl on our team. That I can't wait to see them play because it looks like we have some good talent. I've played against a few of them in our co-ed league, and we lost pretty badly. And so I'm excited to see somebody who might play with the national team someday, especially maybe get some minutes in Olympic qualifying and see what happens there. It'll be really interesting.
Well, there's one other signing that was kind of big to me. This was former Legion. He was the third choice keeper. It was Ford Parker. He signed for New Mexico, which was his hometown club. Always love to see a guy from Albuquerque go to Albuquerque. You know, it's not even just like kind of local. He was from that city, which is nice. I don't know. He's probably going to be if I had to assume, probably the backup, but he could reasonably work his way up. I know we didn't get to see a lot of him last year, but for people who follow Legion and followed Ford pretty hard, he has the potential to be a real deal starter in this league. He started, basically his first ever start, he won Save of the Week, the USL Save of the Week, and it was just a worldie. Ford is a great, just a great player. Also, I'm just saying, like, you hear a lot of nicknames out there. There's not many better than the President. That's just a good nickname. That one's an all-timer to me.
Some other USL adjacent news is Jonathan Gomez has been called up to Real Sociedad's first team for. So he is on the roster for the first team for their match. I believe it's tomorrow versus Mallorca. So might not get any minutes, but he's now made it from the reserve. He's been playing on the B team, has made it up to the first team. So he's apparently doing pretty well in Real Sociedad in La Liga. And they're the team that I follow because I really enjoyed that city. They're kind of a top end of the table Europa League. For those of you who don't watch Spanish football, they're kind of top end of the table Europa League type of level team. So the fact he's getting some good looks for a first team at that level is a good sign for him.
And oh gosh, I'm blanking on his name. Gallegos. He just got minutes for team he signed with too recently. So funny enough, the big players that signed for record transfer fee, Junior Fleming still has not gotten a single minute with the first team. He is still at the B team. But I don't know. That was kind of my reality check of $500,000 could save a franchise here, and it's literally a drop in the bucket for those guys. And it was a really harsh reality check for me because a lot of Legion fans were like, "Oh my God, Junior just went for $500,000. Can't wait to see one of our players play in League On next year." And it's like, oh wait, he might not ever play because $500,000 is nothing to them, which is stupid. It's ridiculous. As the people following along saw, Phil has died again. He said you couldn't keep me away that long, and his computer had other plans. But unless you guys have any other news you want to talk about before we move on to the next segment, we do have a new segment that's totally stolen because I'm not original. And it was stolen by John Boy Media. You've probably seen them do those breakdowns. That one guy who does a lot of baseball and all other kind of stuff breakdowns. What's wrong with it? Is it Gallegos or is it Gallegos? Which one is it? Is it Gallegos or is it Gallegos?
Pretty sure it's Gallegos.
Okay, I never
it's
know. 'Cause
Gallegos.
There's a lot of double L's out there, and who knows? Sorry. Anyway. This one is the color. It's going to be called the color lineup. And essentially what it is that I gave them a bunch of colors that they had to put into a lineup. And I'm going to pull them with the list of colors. And I gave them 12 colors and they could bench one of them. To me, the obvious benching was obvious, but we'll get to that in a minute. But right now, the colors that are available are red, orange, white, purple, green, gold, silver, yellow, pink, black, blue, and brown. Those are the 12 colors you could choose from, and you can put them into a lineup. And basically, we're going to go position by position, talk about why we put a certain color there, because I don't know what their thought process was on this. Apparently, Alan has a fun one. But for me, I kind of think of these colors as kind of having personalities. And let me tell you, a few of them get stuck in from time to time. I just know it. So we'll talk about that. We're going to just start off with goalkeeper. We're going to work it from behind.
Ooh.
Let's see what color we pick for that one.
Phil is not here, so I guess I will be Phil and John until Phil comes back because John sent me his as well. But Gio, let's have you start us off. Who is your goalkeeper?
I started out with black. I first thought is somebody dark, a little bit crazy, has to be back there. First thought was Batman. There's serious. Somebody just waiting in the darkness, and that I think black would be a good choice.
Okay. All right. Let's go, Ryan.
I went with white for a clean sheet.
That's good.
Okay. Okay. White for a clean sheet. I decided to go black. To me, this was obvious because I thought of a black hole, and if you shoot at it, it's just going to disappear. It won't go into the goal. It will just swallow it. You know what I mean? Just shoot it, gone. No ball. The ball can't go into the goal if there is no ball. All All right, I'm just going to read through everybody else's. And then Alan, I want to have you go last because I'm just intrigued by what's happening here.
It's a solo Alan segment.
Phil said his was pink. Don't know why. It's just pink. And then there is John who chose white going into goal. Alan, what's going on with you, man?
All right, so all of my colors either there is a song that has the color in the title, or the person's name or artist has that color in their name. So my goalkeeper is silver, as in Maxwell's Silver Hammer, which is a Beatles album. And so I went with silver because there are 4 Beatles. They're from Liverpool, so it's like soccer related. And there's 4 of them, so they can all stand in front of the goal. And now I have 4 goalies.
All right. Okay. I'm very excited to see how this goes forward. Gio, who's your left back?
My left back, I put silver, and I wish I had a reason, like you just did, and I didn't. First thought that came to mind was a Pokemon game that I love, Pokemon Silver, and I just think it's a cool color, just calm and composed in the back. Sometimes it can be a little shiny. You want to run up the field a little bit, get some of the spotlight, but solid color in my opinion.
All right. Ryan?
For my defense, I went. My 2 pair of wingbacks was red and green.
Is there any reason behind this?
I don't know, red. I always thought of just wingbacks being rather pacey and just those like strong positional players that always make those runs up the wing. And green, I just think that it's just a player that has to cover a lot of space on the field. So green, they have to cover a lot of turf.
Because I have red and green elsewhere, and to me it was very obvious, but we'll get there in a minute, I guess. Phil decided to put at his fullback positions, which I know, Gio, you only gave, I think, your left back. What was your right back?
Gold.
Gold.
I thought they complement each other on each side.
Okay. You know what? I also had silver and gold as my fullbacks. To me, again, that's obvious. I mean, you got silver, you got gold. I mean, which one's better? It depends on where you are. It depends on the day. Cause of inflation. I don't know. One of them could be better one day. They just have different talents, and that's all that matters. They get the same job done, but in different ways, and that's special to me. Phil had green and yellow. Why? I don't know. Phil has not here to defend himself, so I'm just going to think they're all bad picks, obviously, until I agree with him. And John, he decided to go orange and yellow, which those are, unless it's Alan has another one. I don't think anybody else had yellow or orange as their fullbacks, unless Alan. All right.
So my left back is yellow, as in Goodbye Yellow Brick Road by Elton John. So Elton John is my left back.
Okay.
And then my right back is Pink Floyd. So I thought some British classic bands. Pink Floyd has that great album about going insane, which I think you need a little bit of insanity to play right back in today's modern match. And then Elton John, I think, has just the ability to be a chameleon. So he can be offensive if we need it, but he can be defensive as well. He's going to mix it up. And then, he might show up in a giant Victorian gown and a wig and just distract everybody. And so that also might be nice if the striker is like, what is he wearing? But I think he's just probably going to start with a nice classic fully sequined full soccer kit. So those are my left back and right back is Elton John and Pink Floyd.
Are you okay with the fact that your goalkeeper, your fullbacks, no 3 of those are sober right now?
You know what? I think I'm all right with it. I think if we're gonna go like Sunday league, I think that they're gonna fit right in. They're probably not gonna win the Prem or anything, but I think they're gonna cause a lot of damage. They're gonna talk a lot of smack, and then they're going to go get bevies together afterwards. So I think it's a good fun team so far.
All right, let's go center back pairings. This is arguably one of the most important pairings in this entire draft. You want to have that good, strong back line. Gio, how are you bolstering your back line with these colors?
I had to go green and blue for my Greenville Triumph. I think we've won a championship. We've made it to finals with some solid defense. I think those two colors complement each other. Blue is my favorite, personally my favorite color. So I think it's a solid choice. Always just sturdy, calm, and collective in the back. And I think green complements it well. Very similar. So I think they work well together, win championships together.
Recency bias tells me that this is not going to work out too well. But I digress. I'm sorry, Gio.
It's preseason.
What about the championship?
We've won one. We earned one.
Ryan.
I went with black and purple because it reminded me of my ECU Pirates, who have that kind of combination of it. But the fact that to be center back pairings, especially within USO, it has to be that kind of tough, gritty, willing to do a lot of the dirty jobs and work to basically defend your goal. And I felt like that was just kind of that essential personality and that essential behavior of a center back, of that just kind of like hard-nosed, bruising center back that no one wants to mess with.
See, we kind of have a combination here because John decided to go black and brown. He said they're just basically no nonsense center backs. Black and brown are, and I get that. And then we had Phil, who had brown and purple. So a little bit of lining up here. We have a few people who are kind of on the same wavelength. Although I'm interested to understand why Phil went purple, because I understand your ECU connection. But I want to know why brown and purple went together, because I can't think any off the top of my head. But for me, the obvious center back pairing is green and red. Christmas is like one of my favorite holidays. And I mean, they just go really well together. And also, I'm thinking of a back line. Christmas tree, tinsel, silver and gold tinsel wrapped around my Christmas tree. This back line is undefeated and smells like pine, which is great. Alan.
Well, my back line is going to smell a little bit different. So this is the biggest stretch. Is I have gold and green. So green is Dr. Dre, because Dr. Dre smokes weed every day, so he's very green friendly. So Dr. Dre is that guy that no one's going to mess with because it's Dr. Dre, right? And then his center back pairing is gold, as in Fields of Gold, which is Sting, because he's that more cerebral center back. So I got that, like the tough nose no one wants to mess with. And then you got Sting, who's going to be like very like tantric, very like calm. He's going to calm everything down on that back line. He's going to be smooth. So I got like a really nice balance of some flashiness on the outside, some craziness on the outside, and then no one wants to mess with Dr. Dre. And you got Sting. I mean, come on. Can't beat that.
Gonna watch every step you take.
Right? Yeah.
Nobody
exactly.
you have mentioned so far has been sober. Not a single one of them.
And I don't think it's going to get much better. So, I mean, that's the direction we're heading.
Your colors are just not having a great time. I mean,
or they're having the best time.
It depends if you're a fan or the player. Let's move over to our midfield. Let's look at our left mid and our right mid. Gio, who are your pairings on the left and right?
I went with pink and purple. I think classic wingers. They like the flashy boots. Most likely it might be one of these colors. They want to make sure they stand out. I've seen that everywhere, and those are the people you go for immediately when you want to take somebody out. Go with the guy with the pink boots. But they're a little bit flamboyant colors. They can be wild at times, and I think it epitomizes wingers.
It's funny because John did the same thing. John also went with pink and purple. So lots of, again, great minds, or maybe not great minds. Actually, you guys were the ones that have been agreeing so far. So it's been great minds thinking alike
Yes,
thus far.
I agree.
Ryan.
I was similar. I went with pink and yellow for that. A lot of the same reasons, just that you have those flashies, that players that are just kind of like really hard to miss. Those guys that will always stick out in a lineup, and just that players that you always like to gravitate towards for whatever reason. Just whether it's their personality, how they play the game. I think of like an Eric Lamela that, and maybe not necessarily the most talented or the best player, but it's still that player you want to root for, and that team that you still have good feelings for. I mean, pink and yellow are Las Vegas Lights colors.
Fair enough. I mean, pink and yellow, they're definitely very flashy. Definitely very, very flashy. I definitely see where you're coming from on that one. This is where I decide to put silver and no, it's not. I'm a liar. It's where I put yellow and white because yellow is flashy, right? Yellow is that he's going to dribble the ball around you. To me, yellow is definitely like that Brazilian winger that you bring in that can dribble around everybody, does some trick shots, maybe misses the goal most of the time, but scores a banger every 5 matches, and that just makes up for all the 40-yard misses that he has, and that's fine because he scored that one banger against your one rival, and it makes it totally okay. On the other side, white made sense to me because, I mean, come on. What's the fastest color in the world? What's faster than the speed of light, man? Like, white is over on the other side.
Isn't Superman? Oh, that's a speeding bullet. Sorry.
That's a definitely, yeah, a little bit different. Look, no one's beating White on my right side. He is just the fastest player in the USL, just destroying you on the wings. You got left passing the ball over to White. White is already down at the end of the touchline before anybody even knows what happened. To me, it's obvious. At least that's just me. And did I say Phil's? I don't remember.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Phil, this is where I was thinking. Phil, this is where he put gold and silver. This is where he decided to put gold and silver, which again, that's obvious. They kind of had to go together, didn't they? I mean, it felt like it.
That's a good
It's
combo.
a pairing.
I mean, they clash if you wear gold and silver jewelry, but if you keep them on opposite sides, I think you have a good setup because you can go either way. You can go the gold or you can go the silver. I think it's a good,
that's true.
good shout.
Yeah. Alan, who
All right.
are your left
wingers? All right. So my wingers are purple and red. And I'm going to start with red on the right side because he is a right-handed guitar player. And this is like Little Red Corvette by Prince. So that'll make sense when I didn't use him for purple, because for purple, I'm using Jimi Hendrix's Purple Haze. So I got Jimi Hendrix on the left, Prince on the right, like left-handed, right-handed. Like these are like naturally where you would want to put them. Now you can swap them and do some inversions, but if we're doing 4-4-2, maybe I want a little bit wider wings. Maybe Prince can cut into the middle and we can pull Pink Floyd up if they're feeling crazy. But I thought that was a pretty good winger combination of probably the two best guitar players ever in Prince and Jimi Hendrix on the right and the left.
I like it.
I'm very interested in just if we're going to go with like Jimmy. Where's Jimmy at again?
Jimmy's on the left wing, yeah, left-footed. He's left. Yeah.
Okay.
I thought about swapping him over and putting Jimmy on the left that we can cut in and curl it into the top corner. All more modern wingers, but I thought it'd be a little bit more traditional because they're both. I think Jimmy's from the '60s, so maybe he wouldn't be used to the more modern inverted winger. So I wanted to keep him outside like a traditional left wing.
See, I just don't see Jimi Hendrix putting in a good cross. I just don't. I'm sorry. Like he seems like a guy who's going to go for goal, but he doesn't seem like the guy who's going to rack up the assist.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that, but then, I mean, my two midfielders are more like workhorse people, so he can float into the middle, and one of my strikers can float out wide and do a little bit inverted winger, kind of wide striker, because I think one of my strikers would make a good crosser. He's good at working with teams.
Okay.
Hashtag spoilers.
Well, let's get into our two center mids. Gio.
I went with white and brown. I went with white because might be a boring color to some. Doesn't get all the assists, doesn't get all the goals, doesn't get all the notoriety, but they're a solid color. They're in everything is based off of this color. It makes everything tick. And I went with brown because we need a player that'll get a little bit dirty, and brown is a little bit dirty. So that will be our player that gets stuck in. Might get a red card here and there. But they're both workhorses in the color spectrum.
I'm totally with you on Brown. Brown is definitely my holding / defensive midfielder. I mean, when I thought Brown, I was like, dirt. He is gritty. This is a gritty player. I mean, yeah, he's going to go to the ground. He's going to get down. He's not fast. I mean, honestly, Brown might have been the person that started the brawl with New Mexico and El Paso. Like, I get that was Yuma, but like in my side, that's who I thought of was Yuma. That's my guy. You don't like him. You really hate him, actually, but you're really glad he's not going for your shins. And that's just what Brown does. I'll tell my other one in a second. Ryan, who's your other?
I had Brown, but largely for the same reasons as everyone else, and blue is the other pairing.
Interesting. I also went blue. Why did you go blue?
I always felt like blue was that still kind of standard color, something that you would see a leader would wear. Like I think of Luke Skywalker's lightsaber from the original trilogy. I think of the TARDIS being blue, something that you always look to that person that as that leader. And a lot of the best captains that you would have on your team would be that kind of central midfielder or that guy in the heart of your just team going forward. Like you think of Jordan Henderson as one of the first that comes to mind, and within the Premier League as that kind of like glue that sticks the midfield together.
To me, yeah, like you said, blue is the glue guy, you know? And Phil had red and blue in as his, which I kind of get red and blue, putting those guys together. Red makes sense. I mean, red probably gets stuck in a little bit too. I mean, he's red, you know? I mean, red card makes sense, right? But to me, like blue is the glue guy. I mean, let's just even look at team colors. How many blue teams are there in the MLS and USL? There's a dime a dozen. There's a blue everywhere, different kind of shades of blue. Blue is diverse. Every city claims blue. Everybody loves blue. Why? Because blue is blue. We get it. Like, we totally understand it. And blue will fit in anywhere. Blue does not cause havoc. Blue just fits in. And we love him for that.
He also has clues that we get to solve.
Yes.
Blue does have some clues. I didn't realize. Maybe I'm getting this confused. Also, John had red and blue as their two central midfielders as well. Was blue a girl? Was that? Do I remember reading that at some point? Was that blue was actually a girl?
Sure.
Alan, who are yours?
Mine actually worked out all right. I don't think I did this on purpose. Mine are black and blue, which I think is a good like midfield combo, especially if you have some flashy wingers. Like you want some workhorse. So black this is the hardest one, but black is going to be Back to Black Amy Winehouse. Like that whole album is like stunning. She's amazing. She's powerful. I think she can play some defense and get stuck in, but I think she has enough offensive power to float forward and be that, you know, maybe that box to box kind of fourth, fifth person in, right? When the cross or the cross gets sent low across to the top of the penalty spot, maybe Amy's right there to pump it in. And then blue is Forever in Blue Jeans from Neil Diamond. And I'm thinking like blue jeans is in like, this is a guy who came to work. Like not the flashy low cut sequin Neil Diamond. I'm talking about like the workhorse Neil Diamond, like Forever in Blue Jeans. Money talks, but it don't sing and dance and it don't walk. And so I was thinking like blue jeans is like a good like work outfit. Like it's classic California, Gold Rush, like Workman, Levi, like all of those images. And so I just went with Neil Diamond for blue. So that's my midfield is Amy Winehouse and Neil Diamond. Neil Diamond probably more the holding mid, and Amy Winehouse can get up. But I think they can kind of go back and forth. We've seen that in some of our teams. Bless you. Some of our teams where, you know, we have some midfielders that can play back but also go forward, like Mr. I don't know what's going on over there. Crazy. Like a Lambert from Phoenix, right? He can play that holding mid, but he's also a pretty offensive firepower. So that's kind of where I'm seeing both of those players.
I'm a bit surprised you didn't go back in black.
Yeah, that was the hardest one. Like, there's so many, like, or paint it black, but the door, like, there's so many options. But like Amy Winehouse to me has like a special place in my heart. I have some good memories with friends, especially the Mark Ronson remix of Valerie. The cover that she did, he remixed it, which is like just a classic tune. It's bluesy, it's rock, it's modern, and it's old. It's just like, I think that record, I always forget how good it is, and I put it on. I'm like, I need to listen to this more often because it's just a great album.
All right, let's finish up this lineup. Go ahead and we'll almost finish it up. Let's go with the strikers. Who's your striking pair? Gio.
I went with red and yellow. I went with yellow, similar to Ryan, just flashy. We need one flashy striker that'll make something happen on his own. And red, just this mean. I thought about Joseph Martinez in the emoji. Everybody uses that red angry emoji. Just a fiery striker, ready to go, ready on game days. Not scared to get in, be aggressive, and get those goals.
Let's see. Trying to see if no. Ryan.
I went with silver and gold. The striking pairs, you just have to make those your two best players on the team, and it's the two players that you'll gravitate towards for most fans and everyone. You think of Mohamed Salah and Sadio Mane, his son, and Harry Kane at Spurs. You always have that pairing at a lot of different teams, and I feel like it's hard to go wrong with silver and gold as your strikers.
This is where John went as well. He did put a short explainer about it, I think. Let's see. Maybe he didn't. Silver and gold give you flash up top. I mean, yeah. I mean, you got that money. You got a little bit of that cash. I mean, it is flashy. And when you say, hey, I got silver and gold up there, you kind of trust it. You just believe. You're like, yeah, they've always gotten it done. They've gotten it done for years, for centuries even. You know they have a long history of just getting it done. Let's see. I'm trying to see what Phil put. He went black and white. Fair. It's kind of hard to split those guys up, except I think all of us split them up. I think none of us had black and white together. Phil might be the only ones that paired them. Huh. I wonder if it's like a yin-yang thing. Like one guy is more the assister and one guy is more of the, the scorer. Out of those two, which one's scoring more, white or black?
Ooh, I probably got to go black.
I feel like black poaches goals. And I don't mean like he's in a striking position. He gets in all the nasty. I mean, the ball is going into the net and black steals it.
So like Harry Kaning it?
Yeah. Except he doesn't do that thing. I think it was Ronaldo that went to go steal a tap in, but then he was offsides and the ball went to the net, but it didn't count because he tried to steal the goal. I mean, I do it in Rocket League all the time, but there is no offsides in that game, so it doesn't matter.
The new front of the kit sponsor for San Diego Loyal Rocket League. Apparently, the Goalkeeper kits are going to have a separate logo, so that should be fun. It'll still be Rocket League associated, from what I hear, because they did the Gargoyle kit with Stone. So I think
if it says "What a save," I'm going to lose my mind. I promise you. If on the front of the San Diego kit says "What a save," if they didn't do that, that's a missed opportunity, and I kind of hate them for it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not privy, but I know it won't just say Rocket League like the home and away kits.
So my strikers up top, it was pink and purple for similar reasons of Geo, where they complement each other, right? But when I think purple, I think royalty. And who's generally the royalty of the team? Well, it's the prima donna scorer up there. It's the guy who's always just like I tap in the goals. This is what I do. Everybody loves me. I am the king of this team. And pink is just up there. You don't have a lot of pink most of the time. Most of the time, pink is just here. He's there. He's just kind of. I'm not completing that one. He's just kind of. He's just kind of passing the ball in. He scores a time or two. He's never the hero, but purple doesn't want you to know it. But pink is the reason that purple stands out, and that's why I have them together.
All right.
Alan.
All right, so my striker pairing is brown and white, and so brown is James Brown, the Godfather of Soul. Like I want a striker that's going to be like, this is about me. I'm going to put the team on my back. I'm going to be flashy. I'm going to be big, and I'm going to lay it down. I'm going to play different than everyone else, and I'm going to scare some people. With white, you have the highest selling record of all time is White Christmas, sung by none other than Bing Crosby. So a guy who can be on his own, but also works really well in like working as a team. So he can maybe a little bit of a shadow striker at times, connect play a little bit. But if he's on his own, he can handle it. So I got my strikers are James Brown and Bing Crosby. Although that would be a duet I would love to have seen. James Brown singing with Bing Crosby.
Ooh, that's a goodie. That would have been awesome. Who was it? This is totally different, but it's the other duet that everybody remembers off the top of their head. That one time Yoko Ono and Chuck Berry sang together. That was pretty timeless. If you haven't seen that, if you're watching this and you haven't seen the video of Yoko Ono and Chuck Berry and John Lennon, do it. It's so good. I laughed for so long. But we gotta know, there was one player we benched. Gio, who did you bench and why?
I had to go with orange. It's just the ugly color in my opinion. No offense, Ryan. It's just not a color that I'm fond of. The last game that Lansing Ignite played was lost to Greenville Triumph, and now they're gone, and those orange kits. So just got to put them in the back burner. Just stay there on the bench. Probably never come off of it.
They're already dead.
And so is the color. And Ryan, you look amazing today. No offense. If it wasn't for the blue, though, I would have you turn your bright lights back on.
I wish other people noticed it. I mean, Ryan looked like he was looking at the face of God. Like it was just the sun just appeared outside of his window. I was a little concerned on why it was so bright in your room.
Blame the new monitor that I got. But I also benched orange.
I also benched orange.
I need to hear reasons, guys. I'm not the only one.
I mean, orange is one of the primary colors of a 3-time last place FC Cincinnati team, and I don't need those vibes in this eye.
Goodness. Oh my
Soon to be 4 times.
Wow.
Oh wow.
And the burns continue. Gio sends it to Ryan. Ryan immediately responds and sends it over to Taylor.
Ryan's actually wearing colors of the two teams fighting for the MLS Wooden Spoon. Blue for Charlotte and orange for Cincinnati.
Okay. For me, it's simple. All of Bama's biggest rivals are orange. I mean, Auburn, Florida, Tennessee, Clemson. I mean, those guys that we all just really, really hate, they're all orange. It's an obnoxious color. And when I think of come on. When I see orange, and this is a completely different team, but I just see that gaudy burnt orange that keeps telling me that Texas is back, and they never are. It just makes me mad. Like, Orange is on the bench telling me about how he would have went pro if he didn't tear his ACL when he was 3 years old. And Orange had its prime. Orange had its prime, and that's okay. I respect what Orange did in the past, but Orange should have retired a long time ago and just gone peacefully into the night. But Orange didn't. Orange decided to come back brighter and flashier than ever and just won't shut up about it. And that's why Orange is on my bench, because I'm trying to force him into retirement FM style. Alan.
So I don't actually hate the color orange, but it's also on my bench. But again, musical connection is the song Orange Crush by REM. And I am benching REM because they're too sad to play. They're just going to sit and mope. So they're going to talk about how everyone hurts sometimes when someone gets tackled. So they're going to be on the bench being sad and lonely and losing their religion. So they're not up to snuff right now. They're kind of they're in bad form because they lost their religion, so they don't really believe in themselves. So that's why Orange is on the bench, because it's REM. Not because REM's bad. I love me some REM, but we're talking about soccer here.
This is completely unrelated. That was our color lineups. That was kind of fun. I enjoyed hearing why people put certain pairings together. Alan decided just to, really throw caution into the wind and put his entire back line of my favorite one so far. I think out of all of them was Dr. Dre. I love the fact that you put him in the middle of your midfield. And as the match is happening, he's probably about 3 seconds behind, but that's not his fault.
Never forget about him.
But we don't forget about him. That's true. I was personally kind of hoping that you would go red and goal. That way you could have 50 Cent upside down, just hanging from the bar the entire time.
Just waiting.
Unrelated news, kind of speaking of Red Bull. Right now they have a friendly going against Westchester. Where in the 82nd minute they go up 2-1. And in the 85th minute, they immediately go back and give up another goal and are tied 2-2 to Westchester. Again, I don't read too much into the friendlies, but, for all the people that are still watching, thank you. And the people who are listening later on, thank you for listening this far. Next week is going to be the big, massive show where we talk about like power rankings, the team most likely to win the USL Cup. I'm going to add a little bit of a twist on it, and I'm going to go ahead and let you know which team is most likely to win the USL Cup that is not your team. So, for example, if you're a Phoenix team, or if you're Phoenix or the Rowdies or you're Lou City or you're Orange County, whomever, you cannot say that your team's going to win. You have to pick another team. So we're going to see who USL fans truly think is the best of the best, at least in my opinion. But like Red Bulls, in my early predictions, a little spoiler, I'm not a big believer in baby Bulls. They aren't what they once were, which in a weird way is good because MLS 2 bad, but also in a way it makes me sad because Red Bulls kind of ran the USL for a while and they fell off out of nowhere. But I don't know. I mean, Ryan knows all about how good baby Bulls were all at one point. So do you by the way, Ryan, do you at some point we do need to actually do your retrospective because you worked hard on that.
Maybe that'll be something we can include with the when we bring back some of the old USL show people.
That would be fun for people who are watching. Give us some feedback on like that, because like I definitely want to hear from some of these old guys, because like it's so nostalgic thinking about all the other guys on the show. I mean, I love listening to the show, so I mean, getting those guys back together will be absolutely legendary. I think you can only get 10 people in a call. Sure, we'll see what we can fit in here. But I think that's pretty much the show. Next week is the big one. Next week is going to be real fun. We might end up doing we haven't decided yet, but there's a chance we might do some kind of opening match or opening weekend watch along. There's a chance. Cannot promise that, but there's a chance that could happen. We'll see. Just let us know what y'all want, and we'll talk about it. But that's pretty much all for us. Ryan, have any parting words for the folks?
I see Gio's already wearing his Batman kit, but yeah, just excited to have the Batman come out this week, and it should be a decent film. From what I've heard, it's gotten some good reviews, so fingers crossed.
Alan?
As we talked about before we started recording, since Cholos came to play San Diego and lost to them, they have now won 2 games in a row and are quickly climbing the Liga MX table. So if you want your team to do well, send some kids to San Diego, get beat by a championship team, and then you will get the San Diego bump, apparently. So maybe not working out too well for Vancouver because they won. So you have to lose to us, and then you'll get the bump. It's like a give and take, right? You have to sacrifice something to get something. It's like one of those Stony things from that one super movie where he snaps his fingers. I don't want to get sued or taken off the line, so I'll just leave it at that. You can fill in the rest if you're a superhero movie nerd. You know what I'm talking about.
That's Green Goblin, right? Can't keep up. Anyway, Gio.
I'm also excited for Batman. Have some friends who are going to see it today, so I'm excited for that this weekend. And I'm excited for the championship season coming up. I have a month until USL League One starts, so I'm really excited to be on this journey with you guys, get to know your teams. My Atlanta United already demolished Birmingham, so I don't have high expectations for them. But I do have some expectations with some other teams, and I'm excited to follow along, be part of the show, learn some new players, and look at some teams that hopefully some players from League One will move up to one day and play against one day.
Play against one day soon. You'll have Oakland soon enough.
Oh, that's exciting. We'll have to talk about that before that comes. We have to have an Open Cup show at some point.
Open Cup is definitely going to be a ton of fun. As for me, I have a new mouse. My touchpad on my laptop stopped working. Don't know why. Brand new computer. Just when I say stopped working, I mean it won't click anymore. There's nothing in there. There's nothing lodged. It's not jammed. Don't know what happened. So I got a new mouse. I didn't know that it has LED lights on it, but it does, and it changes colors. I feel like that runs the battery down faster than it needs
Matching.
to. Yeah.
But it looks pretty.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's here. It exists.
It's
And-
there. It's everywhere.
Yeah, it's everywhere. So yeah, that's really about it. I'm so sad. I won't be able to go to the opening match for Legion this year because I have to go to a conference that ends that day in North Carolina. So
What part?
Greensboro. So we'll see. Hopefully I'll get to watch it. Hopefully. But I won't get to be there, so I'm a little bit sad about it. But that's okay. I'm just excited for the USL to be back this upcoming week. It's going to be all USL championship. We're talking about all the things that USL championship should be a whole bunch of fun. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. See you guys next week. Super pumped. Alan, cue the brand new outro.
Thank you for watching another episode of the USL Show. This and every episode is brought to you by the Beautiful Game Network. Find podcasts and other written work at bgn.fm. Once again, thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you guys again next week.